There's three basic paths or directions of empathy. The first one is modeling, and this is all neuroscience, is modeling. Behaviors, emotions, tone of voice, even physical sensations and pain are contagious. If I stood here and I just started yawning, you're going to want to yawn too. If I look at you and smile at you, you're going to smile back. So the things that we do are contagious. If one person starts laughing, we all want to start laughing. And you might laugh at the person laughing. If I start whispering, you'll whisper back and say, why are we whispering? Or if I start talking loud, you go, why are we talking so loud? Because what we'll do is we'll connect and model in our brain so it becomes contagious what we do. That's the power of modeling leadership. Because if you do something long enough, you'll find yourself, oh my gosh, I'm following this person, and now I'm just saying some of the same things they're saying. Oh my goodness. And that's not a bad thing. That's a caring thing. That's a necessary and healthy functioning of the mind. As you model it in your brain, it causes you to understand how something feels. How would I feel if that was happening to me? Ralph Waldo Emerson said, let us treat men and women well. Treat them as if they were real. Perhaps they are. So when we see someone experiencing something, our brain will model that, and automatically we will be able to connect to that. We can choose to shut that down. Woundedness can choose to shut that down. But healthy neural functioning will cause us to be able to relate and connect. The second direction of empathy is projection. And that's the ability to project yourself to see another point of view from another perspective. How would I see things if that happened to me? So I can say, this is what you should be doing. But if I was in their situation, how would I respond if that was happening to me? That's mature empathy. How would the world look to me from another's perspective? I believe gossip and criticism is one of the most destructive things. And people do not work together because they're fighting for their own identity, but out of our identity, we can walk in a place of relating, connecting, and projecting in such a way that we can relate and connect and understand where they're at. Peter Demarest says, how many times have you acted and reacted in some way only to later realize that you have erred in your judgment? Clearly, our conclusions about the right thing are not always right. Oh, I've had some rude awakenings. I was doing training in a place, and I began to talk about the oil industry because I was a little irritated that time because of the price of gas. And I've heard a lot of opinions and a lot of things that people have said. And so that made sense to me. So when I was talking, I just referred to this. I wasn't teaching it, but I referred to this. And there was a man there, which I did not know, was in the high-level echelons of the oil industry. And afterwards he said, Melody, can I talk to you about something? And I said, most definitely. And he began to teach me. So I quickly repented, and I made a decision. Unless I've researched it myself, unless I've studied it myself, I'm going to keep my opinions to myself. Because guess what? My conclusion, based upon a lot of other people's conclusion, even highly notable people, were not right. Imagination of an intentional action is empathy. Projecting to a future time to gain a perspective of what you would experience. I felt this way already when I went to when we were going to go to the movies. And I said, Stephen, we have got to get there a half hour early. I mean, we've got to go there early because I want the perfect seat. I want one right in the front because it never fails. Someone who is tall sits in front of me and I can't see. And then I spend the whole movie, sitting on my feet, and the person behind me doesn't like that, and all those things. And so I'm projecting the discomfort I'm going to have emotionally, and I'm not going to enjoy this movie unless. So I'm projecting how I will feel if a certain situation takes place, and I'm feeling those things right now. Have you ever had communication with someone and you began to project what they would say and what you would say, and you're going through this big, long dialogue in your mind, and it'll probably never, ever come out the way you imagined it in your mind, but you're feeling the emotions, and you're going through all those things as if it was reality. Something very important to understand: what builds memory is thought processes, correct? Have you ever talked to someone and they were telling you something, and to them it was reality? To them it was truth. To them this actually happened the way they're communicating it to you, and you know that it's not true. But see, they thought about it so long, they talked about it so much that it literally became a memory in their brain. Even though it was not based upon reality, to them it was true. So we can project so much that it almost becomes a reality and a belief to us. And it all comes from the paths of empathy, but we must recognize that it must be guarded and it must be protected to make sure that it's not fear-based projection, but empowering, value-based projection. This is cognitively purposeful, deliberate action. I choose to think and project to something future. I believe this next slide, or this next direction, or this next pathway of empathy is really healthy for us as leaders. And this is an adjusted balance in relationship to self and others. It's the ability to properly adjust, balance, and model others' emotions. See, there's two extremes. This isn't the healthy part yet. There's two extremes. One, other people's emotions are the most important. So I only focus on what others feel, and I feel this huge responsibility to fix them. And I have this concept that the love inside of me has the power to change somebody else's life. Now, I believe my love can plant seeds in their heart, and if they work with those seeds and respond to those seeds and water those seeds, it can make an impact, but there has to be that intrinsic motivation inside of them. But I've learned I can love and love and love and love and love, but if they are not receiving that love, it will not bring change. So if I focus only on the emotions of another person, I could make decisions out of sentiment and out of my human love rather than what's good for them. Or others, or my emotions are the most important. And see, then we can get narcissistic, and it's all about me. And then we get into the win-lose scenarios and all those other things. So we don't want either of those extremes. Both are selfish because it's all about how I feel when I see how other people feel. I'm hurting so bad because you're hurting. So I want to do things that are not healthy for me or for you. So I need that balanced aspect of empathy. A portion of our brain is used to properly manage and suppress our pain in response to the pain and experience of others. This is healthy leadership right here. And it's literally woven into our brains, into the networking of our brains. A portion of our brain is used to properly manage and suppress our pain in response to the pain of another. Why? So we properly can lead. We can do true love, which is doing the thing that's best for them. Aren't you glad if you had surgery that the doctor wasn't like, oh my gosh, whoa, this poor woman, this poor man, and they're losing it. And they're over emotional about what you're experiencing. We need them to be controlled. We need them to properly manage and suppress their pain in response to ours. Counselors need this. You don't need to go to a counselor and the counselor's losing it and they take and embrace that pain as their own. See, empathy is good, but it must be balanced for the good of others. And if we can recognize that when I feel the modeling or I feel the projection, I choose to say, I'm going to balance this, and my focus is what is best for them. Once again, being an instrument of justice. Justice simply does what is right. Justice uses its platform for the good of others. So it doesn't mean that I don't care. I'm just balancing that to do what is good for someone. Already I've corrected my grandchildren. And they don't like it, and their feelings are hurt, or they might be crying. And they're genuinely hurting, and I feel bad. But we need to do what is best for them, not just connect to how they feel. Empathy empowers us to properly, in a healthy way, connect to how others feel. You can have true empathy. You cannot have true empathy without the ability to see value in others. And that's absolutely huge. Jackie Robinson, I love this story. But Jackie Robinson was the first Afro-American to play in the Major League Baseball. Man, he broke racial barriers. Amazing, amazing, the courage that man had. And wherever he'd go, he would be criticized and jeered and harassed, and the crowds would just harass him, and it was very, very difficult for him. But one day when he was in his own home stadium in Brooklyn, New York, he made a mistake, and the Brooklyn fans are just jeering him and harassing him and attacking him. And he is feeling really bad. And Pee Wee Reese, one of his teammates, went up to him and he put his arm around him and he didn't say a word. He just looked at the crowd. And everyone grew silent. Jackie Robinson said that arm around my shoulder on that day saved my career. The power to value, the power to honor, the power to support. What an opportunity we have as leaders. To the world, you just might be one person, but you can be the world to one person. You say, who am I? I'm just one person. You can impact a life for good. One of the greatest ways to demonstrate empathy is through the power of your words. See, words create the thoughts that produce those electromagnetic light impulses that we talked about. They are waveforms, and they are different where they are negative or they're positive to myself or others. See, what we say feeds back into our own memory, which I talked about earlier, reinforcing the memory that they came from. And you'll be able to see on that picture that there's making a neural connection. The word says electromagnetic impulses. And when those electromagnetic impulses are going in the brain, you're speaking words, it's creating a thought, and it's building a neural network. And when that is done with empathy, love, and validation, it's literally healing the brain of a person, feedbacking into your own mind and bringing healing to you.
I want to thank you for listening and encourage you to become a part of the Stop Devaluation movement. Be sure to like and follow, Stop Devaluation on social media, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and visit stopdevaluation.com for more information and free resources. You can help spread the movement by sharing with others, leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, and most of all, by living a courageous lifestyle of using your power for good. Go out and value someone today. Your life matters, and you can make the world a better place. One word, one choice, one action of validation at a time.